Well, here we go, AKA Powders. I don't know what happens, but every time I move around my Top Cow stack, uh, the incentive issue 3 always ends up on top. And, I have quite a few of these at this point, and I don't know. I love it. Guys, these are the types of gimmicks that have to come back to comics, and they have to be prevalent. These have to be super rare dealer incentives, meaning the dealer needs to sell like 2,000 issues. I don't think we'll ever get back to that. Say hello to Crypt. Say hello to Pike. I feel like we need a Top Cow. We need a Top Cow representation for the table mascots. Today we'll be going through issues 8 and 9 of Codename Strike Force. And before we did that, I wanted to break apart my stack just so you guys can see what the reading flow is. We start with 1, 2, and 3. Issues 1, 2, and 3. This is our initial arc. This is where Strike Force gets their submarine. They end up with the submarine base. Death Angel, he's this guy. He's going to show up. He's actually going to show up in the finale. A little bit of a teaser there. But we have 1, 2, and 3. I'll just kind of put them like this. And then we have 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is what I call the Stormwatch arc. At the end of this, Bloodbow gets overtaken by an alien shapeshifter. That's actually pretty nice. It's a nice alien shapeshifter. And the alien shapeshifter goes through one amazing identity crisis. So much so, we're going to go forward. We get 8 and 9. This is one arc. So we have 3 arcs right here. 10 and 11. This is your next arc. I kind of call this the spider arc because this is upcoming. This is the one I was reading. But they fight spiders somewhere. Hold up. They fight spiders somewhere. Here we go. So they fight these, it's like what I said in the intro. They're going on regular adventures. Bloodbow runs into, he wants to become a woman. Take note of that. Bloodbow wants to become a woman. This is arc number 4. Arc number 5 is 12, 13, and 14. 12, 13, and 14. Oh my God, can I speak? So this will be, we got 2 more arcs to go. And then we're going to race into Cyber Force, Codename Strike Force, opposing forces. And let me tease the return of Death Angel. Isn't that amazing? It's like a year later, he comes back, and we kind of have, they do their best with doing creatures and just, wackiness that everyone here, everyone a part of the team gets involved with. That's what I like about these books. And then once we're totally exhausted from the Cyberverse, we will highlight, and I could just throw this in because Tyler Kirkham, and Jay Farber, who was a fantastic writer back in the day. Jay Farber did good work for Marvel, DC. He's bringing back Strike Force. I might want to highlight Tyler as a Top Cow alumni pickup, or someone that went through the Top Cow style, the Top Cow house style, and kind of graduated into regular, monthly mainstream comics. I always enjoyed his work. So there might be a different retrospective, but I did want to sit down with all of you and bring you Tyler's Top Cow arc, because he does, I want to say he does maybe a cyber, no, he does a Superman Darkness that I absolutely love. And I want to showcase that. But that is so far down the road. And previously, on Top Cow Tuesday, we did Cyber Force 16. This was the origin of Ripclaw here. See, we see where he gets his face markings. So, with all of that said, let's hit Codename Strike Force issues 8 and 9. Hey, it is time for Top Cow Tuesday. Welcome to the celebration of the Marks of Bestry Publishing, Megaforce, powerhouse Top Cow Productions. You guys know Top Cow Productions, Cyberforce, Witchblade, Darkness, and literally a slew of others. Today, we're continuing the saga of Codename Strike Force. It's right here. We got like almost like every single issue is right here. We're going to be focusing on issues 8 and 9. What happens in issues 8 and 9? Well, here's the wild thing. I was trying to organize the presentation order of wrapping up this series, because Codename Strike Force goes from issue 1 to 14, with issue 0 dropping around issue 12. It was that popular, they said, let's tell the origin of this team. So that kind of wraps in our previous Codename Strike Force episode, issue 0, which I didn't know existed until I bought a bunch of Strike Force comics off of eBay. It spun my head because that was underneath my radar the entire time, but that's why we do these deep dives on this channel. So previously, Stryker assembles the team. Killraiser, Bloodbow, Tempest, all of our favorites, Black Anvil, who is really such a standout character. And I was reading 10 and 11, where we get a little bit more of a glimpse in the life of Black Anvil, and I love those moments. We only have a few of them in these 14 issues. And things are happening, and I'm saying to myself, why don't I fully recall this? And I'm going back and forth, because I was convinced that Codename Strike Force 8 and 9 that we already did on this channel. So that triggered, and this gives you a little bit of insight on what it's like to do these videos. I go through my archives, I go through I call it my ready stack, because we shoot a lot in advance. Me and in the AKAPAD army, we do a lot of advanced shooting and recording, but sometimes, you know, we throw things into that inventory. And that's kind of where we've been for the last month or so for Top Cow Tuesday. But we have, you know, so I'm just going through everything. I'm going nuts. And then I'm watching previous videos, and I'm doing all these searches, and I'm trying to, you know, basically look for keywords in videos, because I'm convinced I brought these 2 issues to you before. And I think the trigger of it was some of the artwork. I love some of the artwork so much. I think I spent extra time with the artwork when I first read 8 and 9. You know, reading it to bring it to you guys. The artwork was so much embedded, because it's Joe Benitez, it's early Joe Benitez. It's so much embedded in my gray matter that I was just convinced we all shared it before, and we hadn't. And there we go. This is the glory of 90s comics, because the artwork is so impactful. It even tricks me. And this is why we focus on 90s comics on this channel. The artwork alone. And I'm not just saying the penciling or the character design or how things look or like the attitude of the era. I'm talking about penciling, inking, and coloring. The visual power of this era in comic books. It's the comic book history. It's at its absolute height. Because it got me. So, Rancor Stryker. This is our bad guy. This is his team. This is almost like a counter Strike Force team. These 2 issues I absolutely love, because we have a perfect polar opposite of Codename Strike Force, as of them facing off against another team that's basically put together and designed to take them out. We have 2 brothers purchasing both teams, trying to essentially track down their fountain of youth, but these 2 teams are going to face off against one another. And here we go. We have my absolute favorite part, a character called Rancor Deathstrike. Is it Deathstroke or Deathstrike? But it's Rancor. That's the dude's name. And he's the former teammate of Stryker. And Stryker, like, basically says this guy was crazy. He went off the rails. I kicked him off the team, and all of this events before Codename Strike Force issue 0. I love. There's a GI Joe character that was part. I'm forgetting the guy's name. When I was growing up, it was Sergeant Sawyer's Marauders, right? Maybe it was like a 3-pack, and in that 3-pack, one of the Joes was a former Cobra Viper. And I'm not joking, AKAPADers, ever since I was younger, that idea of someone just leaving a team, taking on another fraction, you know, getting a different personality. Like, we saw a lot of this in the Schwarzenegger Commando movie, where like his former team kind of like he faces off against them one by one, and they all went off the rails since they've worked together. It's just it's a storytelling element that's, you know, like for militaristic comics and movies, but military based story element that I don't know why it just rings so true to me. I love it. I even like Flynn in Star Wars Episode 7. The New Force, what's that one called? The Phantom Menace? The New Force, The Force Awakens. There you go. But even Flynn's character, being a former stormtrooper, was beyond cool to me at one point. I just love it when they split. Han Solo, that we saw in the Solo movie, being an Imperial pilot. It's just a great technique. It's a great tool to use for these characters. And we get a lot of that here. And I have to say, these 2 issues push the title into a more adventure title. It's more of a monster of the week. It's more of what we're doing now. We have a crazy concept. Again, 2 brothers looking for the fountain of youth. They're very much like the brothers from Trading Places, the Eddie Murphy movie, if you guys know that reference. They spend millions and millions of dollars. They get 2 superhero teams to face off against one another that already hate each other, and they just go at it. And then amongst all of this, we have a Yeti. We have an abominable snowman killing people, like taking people apart. It's just wild. And to me, this is what comic books are all about. We're going to go through the Codename Strike Force stack before I show you guys what's inside of these issues, because I want to lay out how we're going to wrap this series up. We have about 2 or 3 more arcs left, and yes, I know we only have a few issues left, but you know, we're breaking them up in a different way. I want to show you guys that, so let's hit that drawing. All right, and we're finally here. Quick caveat: I think this is a great concept for a cover, because we introduced some of the new villains. I mean, look at this dude, right? Beyond cool. He's like Saigon or Sci-Fi or Saigon. This is Rancor. Oh, I forget these 2's names. But even like this girl, dude, like the purple and the green. Okay, Stryker, now it's your turn. What doesn't get communicated on this cover is we kind of see there's a bag. They have like a Stryker voodoo doll dummy, and it has multiple arms here, and I just think some of the coloring is a little bit too muddy, not enough contrast on this, but it's a great design for a cover too. Rancor too, I'm just going to spoil it. His bionic arm is designed to short out Stryker's cybernetics, so it's like I said, they're designed to take out Strike Force. We get something different with Codename Strike Force 9. And when it comes to publishing, when it comes to editing, I just feel like when it comes to comic book editing, there just needs to be a little bit more of a comic book fan base. Like, you have to, as an editor, you have to look at the options and say, none of this is going to work. We have to do something like this for the cover. Sometimes I just don't feel like that's getting done. And even here, just talking to you guys, like, I don't know what's with this gap here, right? Because we see, look, there's like no gap. This is crazy. Like, people like should get fired for that. So the point I'm getting at with this cover is we see it's somewhat of a reaction shot. Bloodbow, Black Anvil, Killraiser, Tempest, and Striker, right? There's something coming like over the ridge, right? Like it's almost like this, like they're reacting to this, okay, and it doesn't quite communicate. And you have to, like, sometimes just the editor needs to be an editor and say, Billy Tang, you're one of the most successful guys. I love Billy Tang's Instagram, by the way. I love his character drawings. I think he's one of the best character guys in not just comics, but illustration today. He should be a perennial Marvel guy. He should just always be working on Marvel projects. He's not. This just doesn't fly. Just wanted that to be said. Little preview of what's on the back. We have Cyberforce Origin Cyblade 1. And this is, we did a video called The Great Expansion. This is the part of it. The Great Expansion is when we get deeper into the lore of Cyblade, Impact, and Stryker from Cyberforce. Killraiser gets his own spin-off. We have Velicity from Cyberforce. She gets her own miniseries. He gets, like I said, he gets a one-shot. Ripclaw bleeds into his own one-shot miniseries and monthly. So there's just this effort. But relatively 12 months deep of all of this, right? We get Michael Turner, and then Michael Turner and Mark Silvestri, couple others collab, and we get Witchblade. And then when Witchblade premieres, like, all of this goes away. This becomes inconsequential, and they never quite get back to the height. We open, I love this interior cover design. I don't know why, I just like panels like this. I just like character building panels. We can tell this is Bloodbow. We have a bunch of dudes. They're in the Arctic. They're in tunnels. They're looking for stuff. We have some Joe Benitez. Look at the coloring. Look at the illustration. Joe Benitez does some great twin shots. But yeah, this is a team of explorers. They're looking for something important. I don't want to catch a bullet in my back. Just because something thinks he's seen, and then boom, they get taken out. We have one guy left. We see that there's skulls. I mean, really nice. Again, really nice panel. I mean, look at that face. But yeah, the whole winter team gets taken out. One guy's left. Indeed, luckily we have something a bit more effective than a shoehorn at our disposal. Captain, show him, Captain. So the one guy that survives, they're like, hey, you're gonna have to go back. He's like right here. Again, like the coloring, not great. But they're like, you're going to have to go back and go fight that monster thing. And he's like, no. So they throw him out. And then we see, and wonders where its next meal is coming from. So we're not going to see this until the next issue. But we can tell it's the abominable snowman. And here we go. While on the other side of the world. Well, that's that. I fared no better than you, Joshua, as I predicted, Jacob. So these are like the two brothers, and they're like, hey, why don't you hire a team? I'll hire a team, and we'll see who can find that thing we're looking for. That thing is the Fountain of Youth. Cut to a submarine. We're back to Strike Force's home base 3 days later. I don't know why. We're tracking time. But look at Joe Benitez. Look at this face. Joe Benitez does this really cool thing where he draws like the chunk of the tech, but then he does these like interiors. And it's so freaking cool. Great 5 o'clock shadow. And we're at a training session. So many times do we get introed into our teams during training sessions. They're fighting holograms. But look at this shot, though. Look at this shot. It's just too good. And what does Joe Benitez do? He does like another, right? We talk about this. He triangulates your focal point. He's really good with drawing blood bow. Now, we have to compare this to Rob Liefeld and Youngblood. Rob Liefeld's shaft poses when Shaft is casting the bow, it's never quite as good as this. It's just not. Joe Benitez, and we see it from early on, right? Joe Benitez wants you to know that he's drawing. I guess I must still be a little shaky after last week. I never went up into space before. That's because you're a imposter. But we see Tempest get into a little bit of a tight spot. Bloodbow tries to save her. He almost kills her. Killraiser catches the arrows, saves the day. And we kind of have this little bit of flirtiness. So Tempest is keep like nipping at the bud. She wants to just get down and dirty with Bloodbow. And we see some of this later on too. This is a reoccurring theme. And this is a little bit what I mean by character building moments, character building issues. The creature that is Bloodbow is right here. It was my mistake that killed the original Bloodbow, and therefore my obligation to take his place. But these humans, his friends, already grow suspicious. I cannot allow them to learn my true nature. And dude, like as an alien, he's just like crying. Poor dude, poor guy. But Tempest just wants it. Tempest just wants all of that action in the back's action. But he rejects her. And then we get a call. And I wonder if I might interest you in a contest of sorts. I've heard this guy. I heard of this guy. This is Stryker's internal monologue. All to do a little research. While he's flapping his lips. And we see we get all these news articles. We'll take it. Fax me the details. Stryker out. I don't care about the hunt, Percy. A scavenger hunt? Come on, boss. I don't care about Percy. So he gets triggered because he sees, look, he's already recruited Rancor Deathstrike. That's our boy from the cover. And Stryker is all in. And then here we go. We got Rancor's team. The anti-strike force. I think this guy's name is Brunt. I should have wrote down their names. Thornwood is the other recruiter. But yeah, we see that they're in the mountains. Stryker shows up. Everyone's geared up, looking like a boss. Right? I mean, look at that face. Perhaps I have underestimated my brother's resourcefulness. We're here, kids. So they kind of get, they get intel that the brother's there before they are. Wonderful side blade by Billy Tushy, by the way, guys. You kind of want to say they intended this to be printed, I hope. Because usually these are printed on, but maybe not. But guys, look at Joe Benitez. Look at the winner Stryker. But yeah, they get jumped, and here we go. Hey, Morgan. Long time, no see, buddy. And we see, here we go, like Thornwood is just looking down, and these guys are charging, and they are ready to rock and roll. So as you guys can get, I mean, look at Saigon here. Beyond cool. So he doesn't shoot bullets. He shoots like psychic things, and he's able to trick some of the other team members. But it's an all-out battle. Even Black Anvil gets owned. But look at that Black Anchor. I mean, this is where we get into trouble sometimes, AKA Padders. Do we go into the direction of just looking and just admiring how well the poses are? Right? How nice the action is laid out. How Joe Benitez instinctually gives us like room to breathe. Like this negative space here flows the action. I mean, look how he breaks down the action. Look at that. Like, boom, boom, boom. It's so instinctive. Just catch your breath, pal. I'm going to go take care of that big goon. So, right? So, right? Like, Black Anvil just needs to, like, I think he needs him in the groin. Guess not. But relatively, Strike Force gets taken out. But I love this, dude. Like, Killraiser fights the green girl. And she's like, what in God's name are you? Because she just sees that he's, like, all the blades just come out of his body. And it's just, like, bloody and bleeding. What a wild concept for a character. I mean, we get Stryker and Rancor doing their one-to-one. Rancor, his arm, right? It's almost like the tentacles. The arm breaks apart. Shocks Stryker. Stryker goes down. And here we go. The team gets blasted into a cavern. Morgan Stryker is finally dead. And here we go. Action zone. So, it's somewhat of a conversation point where when it comes to Homage Studios, even for Wildstorm Productions, they're not promoting the Wildcats cartoon series very well in their own books. Their I believe on Wildstorm's end, Wildstorm should have bought advertising space in these books. They didn't. It's just weird. But Wildstorm sacrifices a lot of their books' real estate. Instead of showing us more of the cartoon, they give us all these backup stories that they're just not effective at all. And just look at the detail of this braid by Joe Benitez. And look, I love all these rocks just breaking apart. But the team is in a dire position, and we open up the next issue perfectly, right? Like, they're falling. How do we open this up? We open this up with the team falling. And now we have Billy Tane rocking and rolling. Everyone's falling to their deaths. And what happens is Bloodbow is able to, he morphs into like this spider, yet another spider, right? And he kind of webs, he webs everything and saves the team. And then Rancor's team, which is, they're tracking down the goods, which is the Fountain of Youth. They run into the abominable snowman, like Snow Family, we'll see. Billy Tane's really good with these types of shots. And we see even like Rob Liefeld try and get this type of shot off, and Liefeld never quite gets it. I mean, look, like the top of the mouth here for Black Anvil, really cool stuff. But the day is saved, the heroes march on, and we get a nice hero shot. Guys, look at Killraiser. Killraiser's beyond cool. And look at Black Anvil. But yeah, they find another way into the mountain. You said you said it, Brunsty. So nice to meet a man who doesn't go all weak in the knees when I start caressing him. And look at Brunt, dude. Like this pose. And here's what I like about this pose, aka Patters. It's torque, right? So if we break down the anatomy, we have our center line here, right? Like we kind of have clavicle, but look at the hips. The hips are this, right? So we're kind of going here and here. The torque for this pose is just immaculate. We have another great mouth. Another great screaming mouth. But look at Rancor's arm. Look at the cables, the coils. Like that strap. It's just really cool stuff. And some nice coloring for Abominable's fur. Like, look at that. So a lot of the coloring, just to give you guys a little bit of how this was done. So in Photoshop, you have the lasso tool, and you would kind of lasso this like this, do a fill. Like it can even be like a blended fill, or it could be like a gradation, but then you would do like another one here, and then and another one there for like the highlights. So you would like lasso 3 or 4 times just to get like this effect. And I love the purple here, like the contrast of the orange for Brunt, and just like how it goes from orange to purple. What a nice spread. But yeah, everyone's fighting for their lives, and then out of nowhere, Codename Strike Force strikes. And then it's all out war again. Now, some of the anatomy, like this arm here is great by Billy Tang, but just the anatomy of how it connects to Black Anvil, not so much. But we get some like nice shots, some nice boots, nice coloring. Like, look at the coloring. And then the brothers, here's the exposition. So basically we find out, and I thought this was great. The brothers have been doing this for a very, very long time. And they find these like pockets, these fountains of youths, and it gets them so far, and then they have to find a new one. So they've been discovering these for like hundreds of years. Kind of cool. And then the Abominable is back. 2 giant hands. Rancor is just getting triple, double punched, super punched. And we can see he is out for the count. Not this time. You fold. Brunt here gets nuked by the Abominable. Like, look at that. Really nice sequence here. And we kind of find out that the Abominable has like a family. So it was like protecting its family. Stryker gets picked up. And he tricks Townsend, or what's the guy's name? He tricks them. Instead of giving them the Fountain of Youth, he gives them like grease from his arm, and turns the guy old, and then screws him over. The whole cave, right? The whole cave gets crashed in. God knows what happens to the Abominable Snowmen. They're trapped in there. And then like we're kind of done, and we're off to another adventure. And that's a little bit of what's so fun about this. Because look, it's like 2 months, $4. You get this one complete adventure. We have this lore now of these Fountain of Youths now that are in canon in the Cyber Force universe. We get a little bit more backstory of Stryker with Rancor. Rancor's not quite taken out. So like, you know, like no one really dies. They don't kill the villains. You never kill the villains. It's just good stuff. It's a great 2-issue combo. And again, I just wish more people would approach comic books this way. It's disposable entertainment. This was a lot of fun to read.